Okay, let's go on to item number 4, ratifying bills.
Mr. Chairman, I need to disclose that I will, on the next item, I will not be voting because I have an interest in Bath Lumber, and that's check 24422. But the checks that we're voting on now will not include Bath Lumber.
Okay.
Okay. I make a motion we approve these bills. I don't need to
exclude the check number.
Do I need to exclude them if Caroline's not going to vote? Okay.
No, I'll vote on this. But
Oh,
We'll
well,
vote on
I
it.
got you. Okay, excluding check number 24422 in the amount of $275.96 to Bath Lumber.
I'll second that motion.
And what's the total amount of?
All in favor?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've got to amend this. So the total amount we'd be approving is $103,798.48.
Correct.
And I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Looks like we're unanimous on approving the ratifying bills. Let's go on to number 5, approval to pay bills to Bath Lumber.
And again, Mr. Chairman, I'll be abstaining.
I'll make a motion to approve the bill to Bath Lumber, check number 24422 in the amount of $275.96.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Looks like nobody's opposed, so we'll go with
Abstention.
unanimous.
One abstention.
And then we're on to number 6. A discussion or possible action, review and approval of proposal to enter into a shared use agreement with the Chamber of Commerce.
I'll take this one. Okay, so this is the necessary follow-up conversation from a meeting that we had with the Chamber of Commerce. That was kind of a group meeting where we were talking about kind of the needs and goals of both organizations and how we could accomplish those through a shared space agreement. Okay, so this is truly just more the notes from that meeting. I don't expect this. I expect this to be a working document and a conversation to kind of go back and forth a couple times with the chamber and their board, which they're going to have to deal with, and our board, and just kind of really kind of flushing this out. So this is truly step number 1 in kind of this idea that's come out. So where this has come out is I really would like, and we've talked to the board before about having an official visitor center on Altman Street. We miss so many people having the convention center 1 block off. They get here, they drive right past it, but you've got a million buildings downtown that all say visitor information, and I feel like the branding's a little bit off, and it's very difficult for us to control the message, which is the group who should be controlling the message. And so through talking with Wayne, he was talking about some of the challenges with the chamber and how there's visitors in there all the time, taking up the time and everything like that. And so I was thinking, what if we put the official visitor center, shared space with the chamber in their building, retrofitted the interior so that it could accommodate a chamber office, it could accommodate a visitor center, it could accommodate possibly the Main Street director, so that when a person walks in, if it's a visitor, we control the message. If they're looking for chamber, then they can be directed to the chamber, and everybody can kind of do their jobs and stuff like that. So truly this is trying to be like collaborative with all the organizations to see if there is a way that we can share this space. What you have in your packet is the notes that I took from that meeting, and these truly were just notes more than anything else. And then I got an email from Gail, who's the president of the chamber, kind of addressing some of the concerns or things that they're coming back with, of just like logistics. And so I'll be the first to admit, in like phase 1, you're always going to miss logistics. So I feel like, again, there's going to be a lot of conversation about this agreement. So ultimately, I'll go over a few things. Essentially, providing use of space, and it's not 363, I apologize, it's 636. You can blame Google for having the numbers wrong, and me not double checking it. So to use that space and promote that as the main visitor center for White Pine County. Signage will be changed to reflect the visitor center share in the space. Chamber will allow for modification of the interior to accommodate new functions, and then there's kind of a listing right there of the functions that we would like. So office spaces for Chamber, making sure that the horse races are taken care of, that they've got their space and nobody misses out on that. The removal of the half wall that kind of divides the space up and creating more of a visitor's lounge center. I'm picturing people coming in, we've got couches, we've got books about the county, we've got all the materials, there's coffee, there's light music playing. You come in, instead of saying, let's stand in the lobby and talk over a wall, why don't you come on down and have a seat on the couch and we pull this map out and let's, you know, would you like some coffee or tea, and make it more of a visitor lounge, visitor experience is what I'd be going for. You know, we take care of the decor, stocking the materials, and then of course offering up this meeting space to the chamber, to the horse races, you know, free of charge, because we know that some of that modification would take space away from their duties. We would cover staffing and training the frontline staff to go in there. That would be the visitor liaison. They would answer directly to us, but they would be kind of the receptionist for the chamber, and you know, answering phones, taking messages and stuff like that. But they would be under our office, and they would be a visitor liaison first. And so again, all of this kind of over time is part of that greater vision of creating the business and innovation block in the downtown. So taking this block that we're on, the chamber's on, that Annie's building, and taking the alleyway in between and working towards combining all of that into a kind of a cohesive facility that would incorporate art, business services, tourism services, meeting space, food and dining, Wi-Fi, you know, all of this stuff, to where this block would be the first block that people would come to when they want to open a business, when they want to figure out where to go to school, if they want to relocate here, if they whatever. It would be all inclusive. So that would be the grand vision. I'll go ahead and read Gail's concerns. And so, and I think I agree with every single one of these. I'm glad she was able to write it down and verbalize it. So, only 4 of our actual chamber executive board has had a chance to look at this proposal. Of course, they need to go to their board and talk it out, and they've got, their next meeting is in January, correct? So they've got to go through their process. And both Gail and I agree that we should have continuous meetings to try to figure this out. I said that kind of the 4th of July weekend we would want to be kind of up and running prior to that, so that when the all-class reunion came in, that we would have that. So she felt like that timeline would be tight, but still doable if we all figured it out. She also wants us to consider that their building is under a mortgage right now because they had some major rebuilding repairs, and not sure if the mortgage needs to be paid off before we can do more modifications to the interior. So, and I'm not sure if she's thinking that we would be responsible in any part for paying off that mortgage. I don't know. That's something we can talk about. I'm with you, George. The third concern is the utility aspect of it. You know, so sharing the utilities, the Wi-Fi, the power, you know, things like that. What we would work out with that. So, again, nothing completely out of the ordinary. I think these are all questions that need to be dealt with. So I think the only action would be your guys' review of kind of what you've seen so far, and then just allowing me to schedule another meeting with the chamber so that we can continue this conversation.
Kyle and Mr. Chair, if I could go ahead on this.
Yes.
So Ian and I were part of this meeting with chamber members, and it was brought up actually by a suggestion from Delane Spilsbury. And so we got together and really talked about this. This is, you know, there were several members there, and it was a great conversation. And again, where Wayne is really acting as a visitor center and can't get to his job as a business supporter, and that was the issue, is that's where his time is being spent. The chamber's a 501c6, correct, Wayne?
Correct.
And so we're, as the board has really made a goal, our board, of partnering with as many places as possible instead of everyone doing a separate job. So I'm certainly in favor of this proposal, because our main, the Altman Street visitor center is really important for capturing people. Plus, Wayne's hours are not full-time as far as there, you know, he has so many meetings to go to and other things that unless he can get a volunteer from the chamber, he has to shut the door. So to really look at, we need to have visitor information, not just at the museum, but downtown also on Saturdays and Sundays if possible. And we miss a lot of tourists that way, or at least mitigate by having outside kiosks there that people can pick things up when the door's not open. And so appreciate that opportunity that Ian and I were there with you and discussing all this, because there were a myriad of ideas that were brought up. I would like to see that, I actually asked if we had something on this agenda because we need to hear it as well as their board and kind of work out the differences as far as goals. And the employee would be our employee or employees, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I think it's a wonderful proposal and would hope that whenever you schedule another meeting that we can be there too and offer more input so that we can share out that information. One thing I would like to ask is that one of our board members, Marietta Henry, has a design background and she's been tremendous in helping with this room, and I would ask that we ask her if she could help with that too. She's very good with colors and design, so
Absolutely.
if we can
It would be
involve
my
her.
pleasure.
So, thank you for the opportunity on this, and I appreciate the Chamber's willingness to look at this so that they can really have more time in supporting their business members.
And I'm
You know,
glad.
I'd like to add, if I might, when I go to Elko every year, last year I went up and visited their Chamber of Commerce, and Caroline mentioned some very, very positive things that they can do. One of the things is they have a device outside of their building where they have these bags, so when no one is there, they're full of all kinds of pamphlets and booklets that people can just grab and take when the office is closed, and I think that Caroline alluded to that.
So on for Brian and Marietta, we've got Ken and Wayne here from the chamber. I'm going to ask them if they've got anything they want to add to the conversation.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Ken, could you come up real close to the
Mic?
conference hub? Yes, that way Marietta and Brian will be able to hear you.
Oh, okay, can everybody hear me?
Oh, you sound very good.
Okay, I'm Ken Cleaver, I'm the treasurer of the White Pine Chamber of Commerce, and I sit on the executive committee. And I looked at the proposal here, and I would consider it an initial thing that, and I do have some suggestions. I won't take a lot of time to do that, but I think, personally, I think that this would be a good opportunity for the community and would work well. I think the location of being on Main Street, since more people drive on Main Street than 6th or behind the convention center, I think it'd be a great opportunity. Signs can always be changed, and I think that that's something that would need to be done. But I think it would make a good thing for everybody involved, and I think that not only do we need to come up with some things, I know it was kind of a concern to me that we're the chamber is a private group, where the Chair and Rec Board has to be part of the open meeting law situations, but that can be worked out too. And I think not only, this would be a growing thing as it's working, and we need to develop something and have this as an ongoing development type of thing. quarterly, something like that at least.